Early reactions are in for Ralph Breaks the Internet, and, on the whole, critics seem to approve of Disney's Wreck-It Ralph sequel thus far. Disney's Wreck-It Ralph was also a success with critics back in 2012 and ultimately grossed $471 million at the worldwide box office for its efforts. And while the Mouse House set to work on the follow-up shortly thereafter, the studio didn't actually confirm that the film was happening until some 3.5 years later. All the same, Ralph Breaks the Internet is well on its way now and will arrive over the forthcoming Thanksgiving holiday frame. The sequel, as its title implies, follows Ralph, voiced again by John C. Reilly, and his pal Vanellope von Schweetz, Sarah Silverman, as they venture out into the World Wide Web in search of a replacement part for Vanellope's arcade game Sugar Rush. Disney's marketing for the film has zeroed in specifically on the characters that Ralph and Vanellope cross paths with over the course of their journey online, most notably Vanellope's fellow animated Disney princesses. Related, Ralph Breaks the Internet in Creed 2 box office predictions. As much as the Ralph Breaks the Internet trailers have focused on the film's Easter eggs and internet jokes over the plot, it sounds like the film actually has a pretty worthwhile story to tell. Disney has lifted the embargo on the movie's social media reactions, and, as you can see from the tweets below, the initial response is overall pretty positive. Peter Sciretta, /film Charlie Ridgely, Comic Book Meg Downey, Comic Book Resources Germain Lucier, Gizmodo Courtney Howard, Fresh Fiction TV Eric Eisenberg, Cinema Blend. Naturally, some critics are less enthusiastic about Ralph Breaks the Internet than others and feel that the sequel is good on its own terms, but not quite on the same level as its predecessor. It also sounds as though the movie has something to say about the pitfalls of internet culture and what happens when relationships become toxic, as seemingly happens with Ralph and Vanellope's friendship during the film. And while most critics seem to approve of how the Wreck-It Ralph sequel handles those topics, the execution understandably doesn't work for everyone, and will no doubt be further analyzed as more and more critics see the movie. Based on the first wave of reactions and the fact that Disney is confident enough about the film to have lifted the social media embargo nearly 3 weeks ahead of its theatrical release, it's probably safe to assume that the general critical response to Ralph Breaks the Internet will end up being positive. All in all, though, it doesn't sound like the movie is necessarily up there with Disney Animation's best efforts in recent years. Like Moana, it does seem that those who are eagerly anticipating the Wreck-It Ralph sequel, especially after having watched its trailers, will most likely find themselves enjoying the actual movie too. Source: Various. See the above links. Tags: Wreck-It Ralph, Wreck-It Ralph 2.